You joined me here in London for another year of Red Bull Instalock, and I am very thankful to be joined by Mimi. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to join me on an interview.
Of course, of course.
I'm sure to start off, you have good memories of London from Instalock last year in 2024. What are your goals for this event? I mean, naturally, you'll be looking to defend the title, but as we know, it's a very different format to what you're used to.
I think the main goal is to just get this first time experience together as a team, because we just recently both changed our coach, but also player. So it's always a good experience to get this offline experience together, get bonding with each other, and that is the main goal, I would say. But obviously we don't come to any tournament not to try and win it. So that is objective number 2.
Yeah, I mean, look, with G2 Gozen, the name speaks for itself, right? You have to be there and in it to win it, and there are some top quality teams that you're playing against as well. There's no Shopify this year, but Is there anyone that you're particularly excited to be facing?
I'm always looking forward to play against Mary. So Falcons will be my first, my eyes on them. Just for the history line between us, I think it's a good one, and I think they're a really strong team to come into this tournament because they are known for their crazy play style and a lot of duelists. We have seen it before from them, so I think they're gonna be a tough team to play against, and that's what we love to play against them.
Yeah, and games on LAN as well, right? I mean, you've been competing on LAN since 2013, I believe, right?
So for a long time.
Yeah. And so my question from that is, and with GC now starting to get a couple more LANs, you had a main event one last time as well for stage 3. Do you feel like you value that experience differently now as a player to when you first started out?
I think so, yeah. I think it's impossible to kind of get the same feelings that you had in the beginning of competing. Now it's just different in terms of because we do have the full year of competition, and then you have champs, and then you get that feeling at champs rather than kind of anywhere else, throughout your regional games. It's just it's hard to get that hype from it, and obviously it also comes down to the fact that I've been competing for a long time, but I am very thankful to still be able to do it, and I still work hard every day to make sure that we get to the ultimate goal of champs.
Right. I mean, even within Valorant, before your previous FPS experience, that's 8 Game Changers EMEA titles, an international now as well. You've been through multiple eras of G2 as we're heading into a new one, the last of the originals, as you were known at the time. What would you say your favorite rivalry was from all of those different periods and different teams you faced? Obviously, we said Shopify last year, you come into a different tournament here.
I mean, the one that's the most special was against Cloud9, definitely.
Oh, okay.
It was also the first of it all. Nobody ever had the chance of playing each other. And there was something very special to that. And now when it's the second time and the third time, it's way different. But now it's obviously now we want to take down Shopify. And that's a different goal and a different experience from when we wanted to make sure that, to kind of sit them down in a way.
Yeah.
So now it's to just dethrone them. And I think it's a very motivating feeling rather than being on the top. I remember when we had won and we went into champs the next year, it's a different feeling you get than when you haven't won it.
Yeah.
So now when you're not winning for some years, you get a different hunger for it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But that drive is still there, of course.
Of course.
And as you mentioned, right, I think even looking at that G2 and that Cloud9 white team, it was a completely different, set of players. There's been so much evolution to both rosters. I mean, C9 not even in GC anymore, but the point still stands, right? You have made a roster move coming into this tournament, saying goodbye to Petra, who you've been playing with for many years now, even before Valorant. So So, you know, obviously that was a very difficult decision for you. Would you say that's the most difficult decision you've had to make in your career?
It has definitely been the most difficult decision because it is no secret that we were a great duo, but we were also really great friends. And we always had each other to like lean on in difficult moments outside of the game. And I think that's always going to be a different experience now, having to like been a part of the decision of not like her not being on the team anymore. Obviously it was her decision to being on the bench, because ultimately what it was a trial that she would have to go through, and she didn't want to be a part of it. And you know, that is very respectable. And unfortunately then she's just not a part of the, I mean, she's technically a part of the team because she's not, you know, she's still in G2, but
yeah. And your experience as a player as well, of course, right? I mean, the amount of time that you spent with each other, how would you describe her impact on the player that you've become today? I mean, you said already about your friendship outside of the server.
I think she's definitely made me like a warmer person, because she's very like, she's very funny and there's a lot of love in her. Whereas me being Scandinavian, we just tend to be a bit more cold. So she definitely warmed me up. And I think, you know, me and her, we always have this, like, we have the same kind of humor, and she always makes someone really comfortable as a person. Like when you're in the room with her, you're automatically like, you don't feel out of place or awkwardly in it. Like she's really welcoming and very like she's like home, you know. Like it feels good to be around her.
Man, you're pulling at my heartstrings, but I know exactly what you mean, right? It was a tough decision, but now we look at the roster as it is, and with the changes that you've made, Akita has now joined. You were trialing her, of course. You mentioned briefly about that process. What was it like, and when did that begin for you as a team?
So that was a few weeks after Split 1, EMEA. We ran the trials, and we had obviously multiple players in it, but Akita was by far the one where we were all like, wow, like this is a, how do you say it in English? Like when you have to like shape the diamond.
Okay, yeah,
like,
no,
like
I see.
she's
You
a
mean
rough
diamond in the rough?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the one.
And she's very special, and I think it's very rare to see this kind of talent. And we knew immediately, I mean, I knew immediately that this is the kind of player I want to be able to shape and make. And I really think that she can become one of the best there's ever been. She's a very strong player. She has a good mentality, and she's super sweet and cute, you know. Whenever someone just gets on their first big boy team, I think like she has this cuteness to her that is just so adorable. And on top of just being a cracked aimer, it's just it fits really well into the team.
I mean, we'd heard raving reviews coming from her time spent on Zerons, and I'm so glad that you mentioned the immediate fit there, because my next question was going to be, when did you know? But I suppose some players, right, just the piece of the puzzle that you needed.
Exactly. I mean, many times it's like you see some kind of talent that it would be such a shame letting that go somewhere else.
Yeah,
and that was definitely the first thought in my head, that she's still in school currently, and she has to finish her exams. So we have to work around her schedule right now to make sure that she can do both at the same time. And also for Split 2, that is where her exams are. So there's going to be a bit of like a hectic time, but we're all very willing to make sure that it works for her, because she is just that good, and we need someone like her on the team. And when you have that kind of talent, like it's just such a shame letting it go somewhere else, or letting her like miss out on a full year because of studies.
Sure. Just making sure that you can get it right away,
Yep.
like G2 stamp of approval
Yeah,
right in
exactly.
there. Absolutely. And that's not the only pickup that you've made into the coach slot now as well. I know last time we had Thibaut on the mic for Instalock, but not here, right? We've got Drew now, having come in. You've already worked, and you spoke about speaking with Shaq and the G2 VCT team and some of their coaching staff. Was Drew someone that you were aware of through that like America's link, or how did that come about?
We actually reached out to the main team to ask like if they had any suggestions. And Josh did mention Drew, and obviously my first thought was like, thanks, but I'm not really sure that's realistic.
Okay.
Because he was obviously with M80, and it's just not always the obvious route for someone to go. And I'm just very thankful that Drew really saw potential and saw that this could really work out. And obviously we had like an introduction meeting, and it was the longest one by far with everyone, and it was like a 2-hour meeting,
really?
Just talking about like aligning with each other how we see things, so he could also get a good feel of how I am as an IGL, because me and him are obviously working the closest together, and it just kind of really worked out. Everything was like perfect timing, and it's kind of almost crazy to think about how things just aligned.
Yeah.
So I just feel like we got so lucky thinking about this is in the middle of the season, and how are we able to get such a talent, and such like he's such a great coach. Like, you have no idea.
Hey, I've heard good things from Scottish people, albeit, you know, a fellow Scot now in VCT GC as well. It's great to see, and I have to say as well, yeah, like you mentioned, it comes at a really great time after that first stage where, you know, for the first time in your history, not being able to pick it up with G2, it's a great way to bounce back. And I did want to ask as well, in terms of your first impressions of him as a coach, Amy was already saying that she learnt so much from him in the small time that you've spent together. What would you say, yeah, your first impressions were right out of the gate when you met him?
Definitely the fact that he sees things that other coaches has never mentioned. So it's like he sees the bigger picture, or the rooted issue, rather than just like the small micro things like, why did this happen, or why did this happen? But he already has the answers.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a different way of like, I've never worked with a coach just where he just understands it straight away. And yeah, it's just incredible.
Coming into this tournament, it's got to be a difficult first tournament as a coach, I imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know what the timeouts look like, but in terms of what his ethos is then about this team and how it is that you want to play, you said that it seems like a good fit with you as an in-game leader. Can we expect a different style from G2, or would you say it's an improvement on what you already had?
I would definitely say it's an improvement, because we do think alike a lot, but there is like things that needs to be adjusted that he will definitely have a say in. And like he will just see it, and then he'll like be able to adjust it straight away. And also with obvious things like communication and spacing between each other, team play, all these small things, like that is where he's really good at fixing it. Then there's also the way of him seeing compositions, which are like, it's very clear that he has been working with like great minds before. And it really shows that his mind works very different from what I have experienced before. So yeah, there will not be any difference. I mean, it can probably look different from the outside, but from the inside, it's just an improved version of what we were, I would say.
Yeah, and taking those next steps as well. The last time that we spoke was a post-match at home ground in Berlin. And I just wanted to go back to that and sort of ask, how important are those experiences to you guys? Because I know you've been playing in Premier as well, trying to do the qualifiers for challenges. It was DACH and Northeast most recently. How important are those to you?
I mean, I think for any team, it's always very important for growth. In our case, we just came out of a very exhausting period, having Spotlight, GC3, Champs, and then Home Ground, and then after Spotlight again. So there was a lot of things going on at the same time, and we already knew that we're not gonna win Home Ground, of course, right?
Okay.
So we were already like, we were just a bit exhausted in the moment, but it's always a fun experience to get to play with or play against teams and players that you usually would never really have a chance to. I would have just loved the experience to play against someone like T1, for example, but you know, we had to make it a bit further than than what we were.
You think you would have beaten them where the VCT team
Of
didn't? Bangkok
course.
finals on
Obviously,
stage? Yeah.
like, and the thing is, nobody can say that we wouldn't because we've never played against each other.
There you
so
go. No, it's the perfect defense. And to build on that as well, you mentioned the rivalry with C9 before and how then coming back to GCC, that inspired you to play better, to want that second title. We saw Shopify in NA qualify to challenges. Would you say stuff like that is also very inspiring for you to go ahead and try to do the same?
I think it's more. It's a feel-good moment knowing that another women's team makes it. And it's like, it really proves that it's possible for any other female team to do it. So I think it's more pride than anything. And obviously, they're the first in North America. Like, they're not the first in Europe. So,
there you go.
So they don't have that title.
Yeah.
But it is motivating to know that, other teams are doing it. And if we work hard enough, we will be able to do it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think things as well, like you mentioned, playing in all these extra events, it's just the added pressure that you have to deal with in that position. So we'll move away from the hard-hitting stuff. I've got some quick-fire questions, some very simple ones, light-hearted. We know you're a bit of a chef, right? From the vlogs, you're always cooking up a storm. The question is, simple one, I think you already know what's coming. Pineapple on pizza?
Yes.
Or no? Okay, that's a resounding yes.
Yes, I love it.
Okay.
Dude, I just feel like whenever people are like, okay, there's people that don't like it because they tried it. And then there's people that don't like it because the internet says you shouldn't like it.
I get it. I think for me, it's just like all of the juice, All of a sudden,
I love that juice.
Loads. We were cut off during the most important question of the whole interview about the pineapple on pizza, but you're enjoying pineapple on pizza.
I do.
You're enjoying being back in London.
I do.
Mimi, it's been an absolute pleasure. Any final closing thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Like and subscribe, guys.
Thank you so much. You're doing my job for me. Thank you so much, Mimi.